Hey guys, what's going on? It's RapidScience here, back here with a podcast. So today we're going to be doing this in podcast form. I'm really excited to start this podcast series. I really wanted to get it out, and in the podcast we can cover a lot more than in our videos. So without further delay, why don't we get started? Oh, and one last thing is I have these really cool sound effects. I'll show you one. Or we also have cloud healing. So I have a bunch of sound effects in here that I really like to use, and we'll use them throughout our videos. So now let's get started. So this is going to kind of just be a sneak peek of how our series is going to go. So right now we're going to be talking about the periodic table and a really interesting author that I like to talk to you guys about. So his name is Theodore Gray, and in his books, he has multiple books. The three major ones are molecules, the elements, and reactions. My personal favorite is the elements, but it's a close tie to reactions. Now, molecules is definitely a little bit hard to understand, but reactions and elements are a lot more simplified. So a lot of people who are kind of starting out in science or don't know much, the elements is a great way to start, and reactions. Now, in the elements comes a complete full-out periodic table with pictures and whatnot. And I have to say that his pictures are great in the book and on the periodic table pull out from the book. They're all in 4K pretty much, and everything looks absolutely stunning. So I will give you some fun facts about the periodic table, and if you guys just love looking at the periodic table, here are some really good fun facts. And we will be working our way from 1 up to 118, which is our first fun fact. There are 118 elements. And before we get started, I'd just like to let you guys know that we're not going to cover every single element. We're just going to skip around. But we'll try to stay from 1 to 6 to 13 to 100 or whatnot, or something like that. So first off is number 1, and that is hydrogen. You guys should know that hydrogen is a very abundant element, but not the most abundant. More on that later. Hydrogen is really interesting. Just like how the sun consumes 6 billion tons of hydrogen, as mentioned in Theodore Gray's book, and it also emits about 5 billion tons of helium. Hydrogen is also in the Pillars of Creation, which is located in the Eagle Nebula far out in space, way past the Alpha Centauri. And it's definitely thousands or millions of light years away. And the Pillars of Creation are destroyed. No one knows exactly how, but there are some multiple theories to why they were destroyed or how. And next up is helium. There's not much to mention about helium, but they are in balloons, I should say. And I also already mentioned about how the sun emits about 5 billion tons of helium. But that's kind of helium in a quick nutshell. Of course, there's much more to it, but we can't cover all of it in a short period of time. Next up, we're going to skip around, though, a little bit, like I mentioned before, but we're going to go to lithium, number 3. And without lithium, lots of cars' batteries wouldn't exist. So you guys probably heard of lithium-ion batteries. Well, they're made out of lithium, and without lithium, like I said, most of our technology wouldn't be here. I'd also like to say that in his book, he has lots of great humor. Number 5, boron. He says that poor boron, because it sounds like boron, even though boron isn't that boring. It's just that he has some really great puns in the book. Even though that one's kind of cheesy, he has some great humor throughout the entire book. So when you guys read it, definitely look for that. And it keeps the book moving along, because a lot of these science books can get boring after some time. So with that tidbit of humor, it definitely keeps the book moving. Now, carbon, number 6, is a really important element. Without it, is actually it is the most important element in his opinion, and most scientists agree with him, because without carbon, the backbones of DNA wouldn't exist, and we wouldn't have our precious diamonds, because diamonds are just so amazing. Also, nitrogen, fun fact about nitrogen number 7, the air is made out of 78% nitrogen. So people say it's oxygen, they are wrong. Do not listen to them. It is 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, and 1% other, such as hydrogen, helium, argon, and more. Skipping up to sodium, number 11. If you were to put sodium in water, it would explode on contact. I recommend that you don't try this at home. So yeah, please don't, because the explosions can be pretty serious. Now going to element 15, phosphorus. Phosphorus is the red stuff on a match, and without phosphorus, it would be incredibly hard to light a match because, well, phosphorus is what makes the job easy, even though phosphorus as a raw element isn't nasty stuff, as Theodore Grace says in person, so you probably don't really want to encounter phosphorus as a raw element. Sulfur, on the other hand, is really smelly, and that's why when you ever get really close to explosions of fireworks after the fact they have exploded, of course, you will smell a odd smell such as rotten eggs, because, well, there is sulfur in fireworks, so when exploded, you have that awful smell. Now we're going to skip a little further and go to chromium, and vanadium. Fun fact about these two elements together is that the Honda CR-V, as mentioned in the Theodore Grace book, the elements CR-V stands for chromium and vanadium, and that is because the old Honda CR-Vs were actually made out of chromium and vanadium. Now, if we look at number 30, zinc. Zinc lozenges are really good for you, especially when you have colds. And I'm pretty sure many of you guys have heard about taking zinc, and they come in many flavors, such as a lemon flavor. And zinc is just really good, and it helps boost your immune system. Arsenic, number 33, fun fact about arsenic, was actually they found traces of arsenic in apple juice, and that's why apple juice isn't always the best thing for you. And also arsenic was found in green paint a while back, towards the 1900s, 1800s, and they had arsenic in green paint, and they never knew why people were dying until they found out that there was actually arsenic in their paint. Number 52, tellurium, is a musical element because it's actually on CDs, and you can hear sounds from tellurium. Number 55, cesium or cesium, depending on how you pronounce it. On contact with the skin, it will explode, and I highly recommend you don't try this one because you could get extremely hurt from doing this. Now, most people should know that 79 and 78 platinum and 79 gold, and the symbol for platinum is PT and for gold is AU, and those are also considered on the periodic table. Mercury is 80, while bismuth and lead is 82, and bismuth is 83. And bismuth is really good for your tummy, and that's why Pepto-Bismol comes from the origins of bismuth, and that's why it's good for your stomach. And mercury, they also found traces of mercury in tuna fish, but very small traces. So yes, please still eat your tuna fish because it's pretty good for you. But they just have found the amounts of mercury in the tuna are negligible, so no need to worry. Just don't eat it every day. Now, you must know that anything past bismuth 83 is radioactive. So if you look at 85, just for example, acetine, that is radioactive. And in case you guys didn't notice, the periodic table is split into two: acatides, lanthanides, and then there's the regular section. And also, you go on Google Images, there's a color-coded map of the periodic table with lanthanides, natural alkali metals, and whatnot. Oh, and yes, there's also halogens such as helium, neon, argon, krypton, and xenon. And also, in case you didn't know this, 88 radon. There's actually some make watches out of radon, and they're called a radioactive watch. So if you were to put a Geiger counter next to it, the Geiger counter would go way off because the watch is actually radioactive. Also, number 100 is fermium, and while 99 remains at einsteinium, so yes, it kind of speaks for itself. It was discovered by Einstein. And lastly, 117 is septennion, while number 118 is unoctennion. So in case you can never remember how many elements there are, just think of unoctennion, oct, 8, and sept, 7 on Greek and Latin roots. But yes, if you're trying to remember what the highest element is, or the number is oct, think of oct, 8, so unoctennion. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. We will be back out with another video very soon about aromatherapy, and we will probably have a special coming out really soon. Please stay tuned for a podcast, and like I said in the very beginning of the video, I will try to be getting this on iTunes and whatnot. See you in the next one. Bye!